Hello, I'm Deborah Collum. This is me, and this is my very untidy studio. I haven't tidied up for you because I thought I'd lose my nerve about doing this at all if I started prevaricating. So, I'm an artist, and although in my head I think of myself as a painter, my medium of choice, mostly these days, is fabric and stitch. I find textiles a lovely medium to work in. I love its flexibility, its portability, and because my primary loves in this are colour and texture, I find that textiles is just perfect. It comes in any colour you want, and if it doesn't come in that colour that you want, you can paint it or dye it, and that's what I do. So I've got everything at my fingertips. The other thing you can do with textiles is create infinite variety of texture. You can juxtapose different weights and textures of materials, and you can stitch on top of it, and it's a lovely thing. Another thing is that for me textiles it relates to generations of women who came before me, those people who sewed clothes to keep their families warm, knitted things to keep them warm, and sort of the generation before who made antimacassars and tray cloths and those infinitely old-fashioned and unloved bits and pieces that did nothing really apart from keep houses beautiful. And for me, that's all there in textiles. And sometimes you can use old materials, and that literally has a link to history. So it's got everything. Inspiration, well, it is that. It's just the materials themselves, but also just everything. Sometimes I just use colour and textures as my inspiration. Here's a piece that I just celebrating really different shades of red, and looking around there's a lot in that kind of colour because I really do like it. This has been a strange time this spring because of the pandemic, and right back at the beginning I found that I was haunted by those red spheres which seemed to be everywhere, you know, this scary thing that was coming to get us. And so I started off again, this does look like the others with the favourite colours. I started doodling, really, doodling with these spheres. I don't plan what happens, what I'm going to do in advance, but I knew that this was, I was trying to parody soft toys in a way, because the imagery, those spheres were so beautiful, but actually it was quite creepy. So these are kind of soft toys, but mutant soft toys, and it was my response to what was going on out there. But this was going nowhere, I thought, and I thought probably what we need to do is try and get out of our heads. And obviously we were allowed the one walk a day, and I was out there with my dog, and I thought, well, what I'll do now with all this time and all this peace is try and record my daily walk in stitch. So I started coming home with an idea and trying to sew it, and I ended up with loads and loads of little landscapes, and I was trying to be accurate. This one is when the cow parsley is just coming out, but the hedges are covered in white may blossom, one of my favourite times of year. This one was much earlier, when that almost neon green stuff comes out on the hedges. And this, when just a few bluebells were appearing. I don't know whether you can see the bluebells. So I ended up with loads of those. I can show you a big pile of them here. And what am I going to do with them? I thought, so I made a little book. So that's available on my website and through my Etsy shop. But inspiration, as I say, comes from everywhere, but I will show you what happens, what I see every day. I mean, don't judge me for how dirty my windows are, but I have that outside, and it's so beautiful. It's no wonder really that that's what inspires an awful lot of my work. And I'll show you my studio, which, as I say, is very messy. You can see there's lots of paintings, lots of red and orange things. I love it up here. I'm sorry, because I haven't turned it round. I don't know really what you're seeing, but here we are. Very, very untidy. But it's a creative space. I treat this like probably a half-time job. I do other things in the morning, walk the dog, but most afternoons will find me up here making something. Sometimes it's painting, but mostly, as I say, it's these sort of textile things. And it's lovely. I very, very happy. So if you want to see more of my work, these are my details. And this has been very amateur and very unnerving, but thank you for bearing with me.